All right, welcome. Today's January 16th, and this is the biweekly SIG Instrumentation call. Not a ton of topics on the agenda, but we're going to do enhancement review, or at least try to. Okay, so we've got 10 open. Let's go through each one. So it looks like there are 3, Richa, that you have.
Yeah, the feature Z one, we haven't started any work on this. I don't think even the cap is ready. So probably, this is marked as alpha for 132 anyway. Might pick this up later in 134 maybe.
Are we, this is for 133, right, is the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But feature Z might not be ready for that.
Okay.
Maybe we need to remove milestone. Does it have a milestone attached?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Cool. And then flag Z. Do you think this one's going to go to beta?
No, but for 133, we've enabled this endpoint for other components. In 132, we had only enabled this for API server. So the only change in 133 is going to be that this is enabled for scheduler, kubelet, all the other control plane components.
Is it on by default?
It's not on by default. It's behind a feature gate, alpha feature gate. Yeah, you might want to copy this and paste it on the other one also, the status Z. It's the same
Okay,
status format. Yep.
cool. So none of these are going to beta.
Yeah.
Great. Resource state metrics. I think there's a cap out for this.
Yeah. This one is supposed to go to alpha.
We don't really need to track it since it's not part of Kubernetes. Or like in...
But we are kind of tracking it. I don't know.
Yeah, but we don't need to put it in milestone and stuff like that.
Okay, I mean, it's kind of nice to have like blog posts and stuff for big things or like have it in release notes. But yeah, I get that it's...
Oh yeah, for sure it is.
Metrics anomaly detector. Event API migration. This is still in alpha, looks like.
Yes. And yeah, I don't plan to work on it anytime soon.
This has been alpha for a long time, right? No, only a year.
It's because like the API, so originally there was a cap for the API, the events API, like the new API moving to stable.
Mhm.
But we never closed the cap before, even though the API was stable. So I closed the cap and created a new one to migrate to the new API because that's what was expected in the previous one.
Mhm.
And migrating needed more refinement than just like moving all the controllers without thinking about it twice.
Mhm.
Um, but there was not a lot of traction and not a lot of interest as well in moving
Yeah.
to the new API.
Should we abandon it, or is it still like a good idea?
I mean, we should still need to do something about events, because it's kind of in a weird abandoned state today where we have this new API, but we haven't done much with it.
Mhm.
Um, so we should still need to do something, but it's a lot of work and um, like the what you gain of all that work is not that much compared to the effort. The value is not really much.
Do you think it will ever get done?
I don't know.
Like, are we just hoping for someone with lots of time who doesn't want to get a lot out of their time to come along?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Like initially, I was thinking that this could be done pretty fast, but I don't think so. There is a lot of consideration to take.
Okay. So, and if this isn't ever going to get done, are there things that we should like roll back to use the original event API? Or is it just a matter of deleting?
I don't think it really makes sense to roll back. Like the only real controller or operand that was migrated to the new API was the scheduler, I think. So we wouldn't have that much to roll back, but still there could be new controllers that have been written with the new API. But we never migrated anything other than the scheduler.
Should we just declare the migration abandoned and let people know that they can use the new one, but that we're not going to like purposefully try to migrate to it?
Yeah, I could do that. I could write a message and say like the reasons that it's not like we don't gain a lot of value and it's a big effort.
Is that just up to us to decide? Like, do we just write a big, I don't know, a big, I don't know, either a an edit to the KEP, the migration KEP at the top, saying like we've abandoned this migration because ABC, or do we just write something in the issue and close it?
I think writing something in the issue should be good enough.
Okay.
Like I discussed it with a bunch of people over the years.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think anyone really saw any like strong benefits to the migration. Um, like related to events, there is more traction around how we can move events outside of etcd
Yeah.
than there are for migrating the APIs.
Would
Yep.
would an email also help to get more attention on the topic? We could ask for if anyone has any concerns by whatever time. Otherwise, you're going to abandon the effort.
Makes sense, like create some traction, but I don't think
So do
there
we,
will be a strong interest because like there is not much benefits. There could be some, but from what I know, there shouldn't be much. Because the initial intention for the new API was to protect kubelets
Mhm.
from creating too many events. Um, but Kubelet doesn't even use the new API and still has like a bunch of protection mechanisms client side.
I see.
So like even if that was like the first intention for the new API, I don't think we've ever seen like a requirement for Kubelet to move to that new API.
And it's not like closing this cap or this event API migration issue means that like it can't ever go. Like it doesn't mean that no one
Yeah, definitely.
like they could pick it up at a later date. But
Yes.
in terms of this SIG, I don't see us working on it, and I think there's like somewhat of a push to like clear out some of the perma alpha enhancements. So it feels like a good candidate to.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I can close this one. I think there was no announcement proposal that was merged anyway. So it's not
Really?
even alpha yet. It's just like it was just an intent.
Yes.
So yeah, I can close it and
Discussion.
explain like the reasoning.
There's just a discussion like, okay, yeah, this, yeah. If you can add a
This
fairly.
was mostly like an issue that I created to close the old uh, cap
Mhm.
because like it was staying on a stable, like it reached the GA unstable and we never closed the issue after like maybe 2 years of the
Because
feature
we
being
never
stable
migrated.
just because of the migration.
Yeah, okay, great. That makes total sense then. So the thing is stable, but
Yes.
we're not going to execute on the migration plan. Perfect.
No.
Okay. Contextual logging and structured logging. It looks like this is beta, no? Was this the one that Han was blocking? Looks like there's been good progress. Wow. S-log support. Okay. Structured logging. I feel like we've made a lot of progress with structured logging. Interesting. So at this point, the plan is to convert code directly to contextual logging. Oops. Okay. I'm assuming, okay, cool. So I think that's it for enhancements. So we have just the two tracing enhancements going GA and maybe contextual logging. Does that sound right? And maybe, oh, and maybe some of the cube state ones. Okay, cool. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the Zoom. I couldn't tell if you were, couldn't see you nodding. Cool. And if there's nothing else there, then I'll move on to the tracing status update, which is that I've been trying to update the OpenTelemetry dependencies so I can pull in a feature I added to the OpenTelemetry HTTP library. But Jordan found a regression in an unrelated dependency, and we're waiting until that's fixed before we update the dependency. But I've been waiting a couple months or like a month or two. So hopefully that gets unblocked, but I have all the PRs ready. So that's that. Any topics you guys wanted to discuss?
I guess for the Z pages, we've already discussed this, but they're going to be enabled for components other than API server. And the only outstanding thing that I want to do for 133 is for kubelets Z pages. There were some concerns that were raised around kubelets RBAC and whether, like, how is the access to Z pages for kubelet protected. Apparently, the system monitoring group, the role that we were using for the other components, does not apply to kubelet. I need to follow up. I had created an issue for that, but I will follow up with Sigat on that.
Cool. The only other interesting thing I have to share is that there's an Open Metrics 2.0 working group kicking off with the hope that it'll be easier to adopt by projects like Kubernetes. So I think we're already aware of a lot of the pain points we had when trying to enable it. But if there's anything in particular you want to see, either let me know or open an issue with the Open Metrics project. There's a special template for 2.0 proposals.
Oh, nice.
You said it's going to be a dedicated work group?
Yes, there is a work group.
Cool.
Yeah, happy to share links to if anyone wants to join.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Cool. Well, I think then we'll end a couple minutes early. Good to see both of you.
Yep. Good seeing you. Take care.
Same. Take care. Bye.